Hello friends, this is Scott, and today I want to talk about the different types of bulk mulches that are available in the city for gardeners to use. And I want to talk about the different considerations when choosing the type of bark mulch that you want to use in your garden. Now what we're looking at here is last year I was fortunate enough to have some tree service trimmings delivered to my driveway. And as you see here, there's plenty of green and there's lots of brown, and these were live trees that they were cut up, so there's moisture also. So what you have in this mix is the perfect combination of compost to use in a food plot garden. There shouldn't be toxins, those types of things in this material. There's no dyes, there's no additives. It's just straight from the tree, right onto the driveway, and then into the wheelbarrow or buckets and out to the landscaping. So this is the good stuff. Other considerations we have to look at are cost. Usually wood chips like these, if you can find them, are free, or you just give the driver a tip, and because they have to pay to dispose of these wood trim or these tree trimmings. So if you can get a hold of them in your neighborhood, it's a godsend. It's a little hard to get rid of them because there's lots of material here. Now these shreddings are very small, so another consideration is labor. Okay, is this going to be something that you're going to be able to stay on top of? Because these wood chips here in their current condition will compost, and I'll show you in a little bit how that works. But the tree itself has all the ingredients to make compost. It's got the green, it's got the brown, and it's got moisture. And then the air is in the environment. So this material, if you leave it sitting, will consume itself as well as the soil life. So, if you're going to be mulching a garden, this is the good stuff. It'll add fertility quicker into your garden, but you're going to have to keep adding more and more quicker because this material will break down so much faster than materials like cedar bark and things like that, that have just the wood, just the carbon, and none of the nitrogen. If you have the energy to keep adding the mulch to your garden, this is the good stuff. But availability is an issue. There are chip drop services in certain counties, and but sometimes it's hard to find wood chips. And I know I'm always struggling to find them. And if I do find them, I want them in bulk because they are free, or just for a tip for the driver. And I need space, so a lot of times I get a big load delivered, and it's going to take me literally a couple months to get rid of all these wood chips. But they're the best, and over time they will brown up, and they will add a lot of fertility to the soil. They'll retain moisture, and they'll look aesthetically pleasing. Again, right now it doesn't look that pleasing. You just have all these leaves and brown all mixed together. Give it a couple weeks, and all that'll just turn brown. So, but again, they're small pieces, so small pieces break up a lot faster than large pieces. If you go to a big box nursery store and you buy the mulch in the bags or the bark, you can get different sizes. You can get from shredded to small, medium, and large. Obviously, the bigger the pieces, the longer they'll last. So if you're a person that doesn't want to grow food, just wants to grow flowers, and doesn't want to add wood chips consistently or as regularly, you may want to go with just large bark chunks. And they'll break down over time, and they'll do the same job, but it'll take a lot longer because they don't have the nitrogen in it. So they'll sit there for maybe a couple of years before you have to replenish the bark. But after a couple of weeks, I want to show you, or not even that long, this is probably a couple of days, 140 degrees, 150 degrees in the middle of this pile. 160 is about as hot as I ever get when I'm just making compost with smaller chunks of raw materials, with the right ratios of carbon, nitrogen, water, and air. And again, that's just a tree. That's just what the nature provided, heated up to 150 degrees there. Now, the look of these chips, as you see after a couple of weeks, they just turn brown. And so they're aesthetically pleasing if you like the kind of the natural forest feel. So here's an application I did at the hobby farm. I just put them on here to retain moisture, suppress weeds, and add some fertility over time, and also just look aesthetically pleasing, because I don't know what I'm going to do in this area yet. So I just didn't want a bunch of weeds all summer, as Mr. Lincoln was watching me. Not too happy with the rain in this day. But that's how the wood chips will look that you get from tree trimming or tree services. Now, the second option, which most people do, is they go down to the nursery, or they just have them delivered and have a truck come and dump them. And this is cedar, and these are cedar shavings. As you see, I'm getting just the natural that are not dyed, but there's black right behind it. And then here's another a closer look at the material being dumped into the truck. But there's black, and then you can also find red in various nurseries. So I use this. This material is not dyed. It's the regular cedar, but again, it has none of the nitrogen in it. So they're small pieces. They're shredded up, so it will the soil life will consume it quicker, but I find it as a safe alternative. If I can't find the tree service trimmings, I'll get these. Problem is, though, this costs about $130 plus tax for 2 cubic yards. So this stuff isn't cheap. So you go from being free or a tip to having to pay, literally $140 for 2 cubic yards. Now here's another application. I just want to show you how it looks when you put some wood chips down. And again, cedar will look sharp, and they'll all brown out, and they'll kind of fade out and turn grayish as they go. Again, they come in black, and my front yard's in black, but this contains dyes. And so I'm not going to grow food, in bark that has dyes in it. And here's a look at my neighbors that did some red. And again, it's dyed, so I'm not gonna use this type of material to grow food. But for flowers or anything else, it should be fine. No issues. Sometimes you'll see plants get a little sickly, and you just don't know what the dyes are. And so, again, ask the nursery where you buy your bark, if you're gonna go with color, and see what they use for the dye. But it looks pretty, so it's nice. I have black on my side of the yard, and they just chose to use red on the other side. So, it looks nice. Just personal preference. Now, here's what you get if you go to the landfill and you get wood chips or shredded wood from them. Usually costs about $20 for a couple cubic yards. So it's a good deal. It's not free, but it's definitely not the $140 you're going to get for the same amount of material as you're going to get at a nursery or have it delivered. But there's a look at what the regular soil looks like, and then what those wood chips look like. And again, they're a lot lighter colored. There's no green in them. What you find in this material, it's usually shredded pellets, so it could be hardwoods, which could be advantageous if you're trying to grow mushrooms and things like that. But there's a mixture of who knows what's in here, and who knows what was on the pellets, so it could have leach toxins and things like that. So this is a little bit riskier material. You don't quite know what you're getting, and you're going to get some nails, you're going to get some garbage. And the color isn't quite my liking. I like the darker look, but it's what I could find right now. I couldn't find any wood chips and from a tree trimming service, and I needed some, so I got them from the dump, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get any more. Mother Nature shows us the way, and it always covers the soil. Dry dirt, uncovered dirt is dead dirt. So mulch your soil, whether it's with wood chips or other materials, and But my suggestion is, if you're going to grow food, be really careful what you use as a wood chip mulch. Thank you.